Hey, thank you for checking out my video. I am recording today in my camper at the Blue Sky Sanctuary, which is my property in Todos Santos. That's a little town at the tip of the Baja Peninsula in Mexico. And this was a follow-up to my top 5 things I love about Mexico. I wanted to give a really balanced, fair perspective and try to share with you 5 things that you might not love about Mexico. I will say I have grown to embrace all of the things on this list, but it took a little bit of practice, and I'm giving you the heads up so that you can come here maybe more prepared, and then your transition will be perhaps easier than mine was. So let's get right into it, starting with number 1, which is inconsistency. Inconsistency in businesses, restaurants, and services. So I think it's safe to say, and in my experience, I have found that you can't count on businesses or restaurants to be open consistent hours. They might close in the middle of the day. They may not open at all. They may close early. Also, they won't always have the products that you need or want. And with services, they won't always show up on time. They sometimes won't show up at all. And when I first got here and was first creating the foundation for this property, I would get really frustrated and really insulted when people wouldn't show up on time or at all. And over the years, I've come to realize that part of what I love about Mexico is the more laid back attitude that's here. But the dark side of that means it's not even a dark side, it's just the other side of that is you can't count on things all the time the way that maybe you are used to from wherever you're coming from. So be prepared for that and roll with it, and you'll be a lot happier. There's no point in resisting it. Number 2 has to do with dogs. And I'm a bit of a crazy dog lover, and dogs come up in my videos a lot. They came up in the top 5 things I love about Mexico, the freedom that we have with them here and how they can go anywhere and everywhere. But the flip side of that is everyone's dogs are free everywhere. There are many street dogs, and that means you can't just walk down through your neighborhood at any hour, at any time, and maybe be certain that you're not going to have altercations with other dogs. But I want to provide solutions for you. The solutions are carry a spray bottle with you, put vinegar and water in it, and that will stop a dog in its tracks if it's coming towards you. Most dogs. The other solution is to pick up a rock. Most dogs here, just when you pick up a rock, will stop. If they don't, then you might have to throw it at them, and that should take care of just about any situation you might encounter. The other challenge with dogs here is that you will see dogs that are not well cared for, and that can be kind of heartbreaking if you're sensitive to that sort of thing. But again, you have to adapt, and we don't all, well, let's say, a lot of us up north treat our dogs like royalty, and that's just not the way it is here. All right, number 3 is not exclusive to Mexico, but I felt like it was really worth mentioning, and that is to be prepared for the fact that if you have challenges wherever you are right now, say you have a bad relationship, or you have bad habits, or you can't sleep well, or you have anxiety, when you get here, those issues are not going to simply disappear just because the sun shines all the time and there's beautiful ocean breezes. In fact, they can sometimes even amplify themselves because you have more time to look at it, deal with it, feel it. It can be challenging. And so again, if you're prepared for that, maybe you prepare yourself to deal with the things that you need to deal with. It's one of the blessings of being down here is having more time to deal with your stuff. But don't expect that it will just simply dissolve and disappear, because that's not the case, at least not in my experience. Number 4, keeping the list really short and quick for you if I can, is number 4 is the noise. And that's everything from the street dogs at night. They might be barking and fighting. When the full moon is out, it's even louder. There's chickens in the morning doing their thing. And then there is the sounds of the fiestas. And it's endearing after a while, but if you resist it, well, it's just futile. There's no point. And so inevitably, if you're here for a while, you're going to encounter the 4 a.m. truck party. You know, it goes from like 4 till 6 in the morning, and there's nothing you can do about it. So what I would suggest is that you invest in some really good earplugs wherever you are. Bring a few pairs down, and maybe even a white noise machine. That's great for sleeping as well, and be prepared. I think that in my first handful of years here, it was my resistance to it and my like, how can these people be partying at 4 in the morning with no regard for the fact that I'm trying to sleep? That would keep me up. But when you surrender to it, when I surrendered to it, I can sleep through it. It's a fun sound. It's for the most part. Anyway, sound, be prepared for it. 24/7. It's just a little bit noisier of a place. And finally, number 5 is inconsistency again, but this time it's in your home, and it's related to the internet and water and power. The internet may not be as quick as you're used to. It may go up and down, like on and off. It may be available and not. And so if that's really important to you, you'll want to research where you're going and be sure that they have that in place to the standards that you're looking for. Same with power and water. At my property and in my community, the water typically is off all day and it's on all night. And how we handle that is we have holding tanks, and they fill up at night, and then you use that water all throughout the day. And it works awesome. And honestly, I wish that more places who didn't even have to, like, we're in a position here where maybe we have to conserve water. If we were to implement this in places that didn't have to conserve water, I think it would go a long way to preserving this really valuable resource that we have. So I love that about here, but maybe when you first get here, you might not like it. So again, if you need an infinite supply of water coming out of the tap, you'll want to double check, triple check, and make sure that where you're going to stay has huge holding tanks, and that they'll always have the water going for you. Lastly, power. That's pretty consistent where I am, but I would say, as I have in other videos as well, Mexico is a huge country, and it really varies from the East Coast to the West Coast, as with any country. Its resources, its quality of life, its infrastructure, it varies a great deal. So do your research. I'd highly recommend where I am. I think it's a great combination of a tourist town and many local people. There's the tradition and the and the integration of foreigners coming here. And I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful balance. So anyway, that wraps up my top 5 things that you can be prepared for if you're coming to spend some time in Mexico. I hope it helps you make your decision, and I hope it makes your transition easier. And I hope that if you enjoyed this video, you'll give it a like. I'd be ever so grateful, and I will catch you on the next one. It'll be right around the corner.